my friends? Welcome back. It is April 3rd, 2023, and we're going to talk about a few things that are taking place as we speak, and in the next day or two, you're looking at a weather system that's going to cause some pretty significant issues, not just in the winter storm category, but soon after, moving into tomorrow and the next day, another severe weather event that could stretch from the southeast all the way through the Ohio River Valley. Remember, we're moving into the month of spring now. This is tornado season, so as the days go by, we're going to start seeing less and less snow by the Great Lakes and New York and those areas that we're getting hit pretty hard. But as we backtrack here, we could see a winter blast is going to be taking place in the Dakotas. That's why you're seeing this crazy chart right here. This is a county by county chart all over the United States. We got Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, and that is exactly where we saw that winter blast. In fact, these are blizzard warnings you see all here in the red, and it's going to come and go quick, but not without leaving a pretty significant amount of snow. And as this system does roll over the Great Lakes, it's going to kind of peak up in this area in Canada, and that's what's going to pull up that severe weather that we're looking at right here on this chart on Tropical Tidbits. So again, let me backtrack very quickly because I do have a few other topics I want to get into quickly. We're going to try to skim right through this stuff. So right now you're looking at April 5th. We can even backtrack one more day just to give you an idea of how this thing is going to form. So we're kind of seeing the heaviest of this taking place tomorrow over Wyoming and then down into Colorado, but that's when things change and it starts to pull up north into the Dakotas, as you could see here. The low pressure system is down in this area, Arkansas, Missouri, and then straight into the Ohio River Valley. Now, the most severe of this weather, as far as anything tornado producing, is probably going to be taking place early on the 6th. That will be this Thursday. And at this point, you can see that low pressure system has moved all the way up north into Canada up here, and that is still the driving force of why you're seeing this entire pull of moisture up into this area. So hopefully not as devastating as what we just saw in the United States a few days ago with the insane tornado outbreak we had to experience, which I'm sure you all saw all over the news. People's lives completely uprooted in just seconds. One of the worst tornado outbreaks we've actually seen in years. As we move through the next few days, I will be going over that. Also, two very large earthquakes taking place today. A 6.5 downgraded from nearly a 7.0. That's a big downgrade. So that has me thinking maybe it was a little higher than a 6.5. We all know how the USGS likes to work. And this was a fairly deep earthquake. You don't too often see earthquakes of that depth. And there's a rule of thumb I've learned over time that when you see these larger, deep earthquakes, it tends to lead to larger, shallower earthquakes. So it's going to be smart to keep an eye on this fault line right here that kind of jags into the Alaskan, the Aleutian Islands, and watch that pressure transfer, if any, which then can set off a chain reaction, which could move down the west coast of Canada and then into the west coast of the United States. This has happened many, many times, specifically when we see deep, large earthquakes in this part of Russia. And once again, I'm going to show you a connection to this and the space weather that took place. We had an odd spike in solar wind that lasted only a few hours, but these two earthquakes basically took place around that exact same time. The second one was way down here, much closer to an area where we're used to seeing larger earthquakes. Again, along one of the more significant fault lines we have. In fact, one of the biggest tsunamis we ever had in history came from this area right here. I'll get into that in another video. I have talked about it in previous videos, but nonetheless, to see the 6.5 and 6.1 taking place in the same day, thousands of miles apart, but still in that western kind of area of the Pacific Ocean. Even though we're pushing into the Indian Ocean when it comes to this earthquake here, it is that western edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire that is constantly bringing us action. And that's why I want to show you this little spike we had here that took place basically at the same time of these earthquakes. We went from about 550 kilometers per second of solar wind and spiked all the way up to over 600 for just a short period of time. Those earthquakes took place and then boom, right back down to normal, which is very interesting to me because we saw no real action from the sun. And I should also mention during the making of this video, we had a smaller 5.0 take place in the Indonesia area here. So again, just setting that idea that we're seeing a lot of that western ring of fire action going on right now. And this was close to about the same time we saw that large Papua New Guinea earthquake. Now, one more thing I want to tie to this is our National Data Buoy Center, and you're looking specifically at the tsunami buoys right now. Now, take a look at this. This buoy was not set off during that Papua New Guinea earthquake, which took place right around here, and we were waiting to see if that would cause anything, but we were told that there was no tsunami threat from that 7.3 earthquake yesterday. But we can see right here there is a signature. It is a small one. It's probably nothing to worry about, but nonetheless, it makes me wonder how this buoy was actually set off when the earthquakes of significant size were both right over here in this area and then way up in this part of Russia. And that also leads me to talk about, once again, again, this buoy has been triggered on the west coast of the United States. We talked about this yesterday. This is the second triggering in 2 days. The same exact buoy going off once again. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different triggers of this buoy since the 31st of March. Now again, we spoke briefly about whether or not they're testing these buoys and why they're doing it in the face of the public. They could easily shut down this buoy and do the work they need to do, but yet they're letting us see this on the chart as if something else was taking place, and I don't like how they're doing that. They've been doing a lot of testing of the buoys on the west coast of the United States. In fact, I made a video, which I'll put at the end of this one, talking about whether or not they're preparing us for something. Now, we're about to get an update on tropical tidbits and most other weather system. Now, we're about to get an update on tropical tidbits and other weather websites as far as what this blizzard warning and what this low pressure system is going to do as far as severe weather in the United States, pulling all the way up to the Ohio River Valley. We showed you that just moments ago. Right there is the period of time that really concerns me. April 5th going into April 6th, we see these straight line winds, and that's exactly what we saw up in this area when nearly 200 different tornado warnings went off with about 50 forming. So this is not something to take lightly. Anytime we see this kind of line up here with the low pressure system up above the Great Lakes pulling up that moisture, which soon could be that warm moisture from the Gulf. Right now it's being pulled up through Mexico and Texas, but eventually once that tail end reaches the Gulf, we could start seeing something a little more severe looking like this. So not only Texas, but Louisiana, Mississippi, all the way into Tennessee and Kentucky, we could see these tornado outbreaks once again. And again, this would be April 6th, but even a 12-hour period of time could change things drastically. So we got to keep an eye on this, and that's what I wanted to bring to your attention today. I hate jumping through videos very quick, but I got a few things to take care of today. But once again, blizzard warnings taking place in 3 different states, but mostly the Dakotas. We got the 2 tsunami buoys going off almost directly across from each other in the Pacific Ocean region. And just as those 2 large earthquakes took place, we had a high spike in solar activity. As always, my friends, I'll keep an eye on all this stuff. As soon as I get back, we'll work on an update. If not, you'll see me tomorrow for sure. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. Shout out to Canada, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.